All right, so I got a heavily over talked about topic that I'm going to delve a little bit deeper into and take a little bit of a different type of crack at compared to what you might have heard before. So, you always hear in powerlifting, do your accessories, do your accessories, do your accessories, but I want to give you a lens of why that's important. So, there's really two modes of training you can pursue to create strength expression, and that's going to be just raw strength, raw physicality, and specificity. Now, if you are someone who is just some big mongo who you just came from many years of wrestling or football, or you were like some sort of strength athlete in the past and you have a ton of muscle mass built up, you probably need to crank on the specificity, because your raw physicality is way above your ability to squat and bench press and deadlift. So you want to go ahead and take a little bit away from doing maybe quite as many accessories or as much emphasis on them, and you want to crank it up to getting more practice, more time in on those main lifts, because that's where you're lacking. Now, other way around, let's say powerlifting is one of the first sports you've done, you're brand new, and you get on a hyper-specific training program where you've just really nailed and perfected that technique, and everything you do is super clean, looks very efficient for your body type, and you just stop progressing. Or let's say you've just been running a powerlifting program for a really long time and it's been always had yielded progress and it stops. One of the reasons that you might want to look at, assuming your coach is doing your programming properly, is, are your accessories strong enough to match what you are lifting on the big three? So what I mean by that is, if you are someone who's deadlifting in say the mid 300s and you're only cable rolling 100 pounds, 110, 120 pounds, then how much higher do you think your deadlift's going to be able to go before your upper back just cannot hold on, because you're only as strong as your weakest link? You should be at that point trying to shoot for getting up to at least 160, 170, 180 even on your cable rows. Think about having your squat. Let's say you're a 400-pound squatter and you're struggling to belt squat with 200 pounds as an extreme example. Obviously, your belt squat sucks. You need to get it a lot better in order to match the level that your specificity of the squat is at. If they're too far away from each other in either direction, you don't have enough specificity or you don't have enough raw physicality, that's where you're going to be reaching your limit in those lifts. So if you start thinking about your accessories like that, in that, how is me not choosing to push this accessory hard limiting my potential on the main lifts, then you might find an answer to why your progression is not being as consistent. And I guess you don't really need to think about the specificity too much, because your coach should be taking care of that, assuming you have a coach. But assuming you're self-coached, if you are a beast on accessories, you're huge, you're jacked, you can max out every machine in the gym, then you might want to put those a little bit more on maintenance, and you might want to get a little more practice on those main lifts, getting strong at their variations, pushing your back downs a little bit harder. And that's the takeaway application that you can have there. But I hope thinking about these two categories of that raw strength, raw physicality, and that specificity, and seeing where they are in relation to each other, can really help you take a new look at your own training and improve further down the line.